Welcome back to the Toppy Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you my final thoughts for Everton 2, Liverpool nil at Goodison Park last night. What a night. What a night. My first derby win that I've seen in person ever in my life. We've finally done it. We finally got one over them. We finally beat them in a Merseyside derby, and what a time to get it as well. Stopping their title charge and nearly keeping us in the Premier League. I think it was the perfect time to do it. But we'll get straight into it and we'll unpack all the events of last night and we'll start with that first half and what a performance in that first half, I thought. Absolutely huge from everyone. Everyone pulling their weight, everyone pulling in the same direction. And we really took the game to them, didn't we? I didn't think that we would. I thought Sean Dyche would set up in a system where we let them come on to us and we would sit back and try and hit them on the counter attack. I don't think we did that in that first half. We took the game to them, didn't let them sit on the ball. And we were really unlucky not to get a penalty early on, weren't we, through Dominic Calvert-Lewin, taking it round Alisson. Alisson takes him down, and but for the slightest of offside margins, we have the opportunity there to go 1-0 up very early in the game. But we made it horrible for them in that first half. Sly shoulders, late challenges. It was really a performance that, the Everton of old would have been proud of. It was a massive performance in terms of the dark arts of the game. I thought that we were winning fouls very well. We were really frustrating Liverpool in that midfield. And in games like that where the big six teams, they want it all their own way, you have to take the game to them and you have to make it difficult for them. And we did exactly that. And, as I said there, frustrating them, winning fouls. They couldn't cope with our set pieces. They couldn't cope with anything. So the more that they were diving into challenges in that midfield area, or even in Jordan Pickford's half, in our own half where Jordan Pickford could hoist the ball into the box to give us an opportunity, they couldn't cope with it, and they kept diving in and kept making stupid challenges. And how they didn't get a booking in that first half, I think I counted like 9 or 10 fouls in the midfield area where we were just superior to them all afternoon, all evening. Sorry, we were just superior to them. I think I counted like 9 fouls, and I was so surprised that I didn't see a booking for one Liverpool player in that first half. But that being said, we kept pushing, we kept going, and massively deserved our goal. I thought we were on top for the majority of that first half, and massively deserved the goal. And coming through Jared Branthwaite as well, what a player he is. I cannot speak highly enough of Jared Branthwaite after last night. He had probably one of the best performances I've seen in an Everton shirt from any player. He was absolutely unreal. And it probably wasn't the prettiest of goals. I think Sean Dyche said in his post-match interview that it wasn't the prettiest of goals. And sometimes you don't want a pretty goal. Sometimes you want it to bobble over the line and and watch the fans go into bedlam as that ball does go over the line. But it was a huge, huge goal, and we massively deserved it, as I said before. But that being said, Liverpool did have chances in that first half. Two huge saves from Jordan Pickford to deny Nunes and Luis Diaz at the back post. I think on another day, we probably have got away with one there. I think with a proper striker and not Nunes, one that can actually finish, I think we probably would have been pegged back there and conceded. But Nunes getting in behind, hit it straight at Pickford. But that, no doubt, that doesn't take any credit away from Jordan Pickford. It was an absolutely huge save and massively needed at the time, because it kept us going into potentially into half time 1-0 up. So that was huge for me. And going into that half-time break, I thought we were relatively in control. I was really, really positive about our chances. And going down at half time, sort of calming the nerves. I think my heart rate probably went up to about 150, 160 in that first half, given the nerves, and just going down to calm myself down, thinking, we are in a really good position here. We've got a real big chance to beat these here. And second half, you do worry, don't you, that you come out into a second half after a break. Liverpool have had chance to regroup and go again, and you worry that we don't come out with the same intensity, but it never dropped that intensity. The intensity stayed consistent throughout the whole game. We gave 110% for the full, what was it, 97 minutes of play. We gave absolutely everything. And, the players have to take some credit for that, to keep going and bring that intensity and make it difficult for Liverpool, especially after a half-time break as well, going into that second half. I thought for them to keep that up, I thought it was absolutely huge, and every credit to them, because fair play, 2 games in 4 days. You would have thought it would have been a task too much for Everton tonight, and getting to a point where chances would have been few and far between. The legs would have started to show, and we wouldn't have been able to keep that intensity for the full 90 minutes. We absolutely did that, and then moving into that second half as well, getting that second goal through Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a great, well-worked set piece. As I said about the first half, they could not cope with our set pieces. That was the story of the evening. They could not cope at all with our set pieces. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I was so happy for him getting that second goal because he's had such a rough time in recent weeks. Obviously, getting two in two games against Newcastle and Burnley, I thought that was huge for his confidence, and he's now taking it, and he's on a little bit of a run now. Obviously, didn't play against Chelsea, didn't get on the score sheet against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. However, getting on the score sheet against Liverpool in a Merseyside derby at Goodison, where you need all 3 points to try and stay in the league, that was huge. And for me, that is going to do the world of good for his confidence because it was a great towering header. The way he rose above Van Dijk like he wasn't even there, it was absolutely unreal. And to see him run off and celebrate like that, I think that the kid deserves it because he's had such a rough time in the last few years as well with injury and just getting back. We're now seeing the Dominic Calvert-Lewin of old. I think we're seeing the kid brimming with confidence in the team week in, week out. And that's for me is no slight on Beto as well, because I think Beto is a player that offers us something. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the moment, he's just playing really well. And it was a proper number nine's performance last night. He was everywhere. He bullied Konate that much that Konate had to get subbed off for Gerard Quansah late on in that second half. And that just shows how well Dominic Calvert-Lewin played. The fact that Konate, a young centre half that will probably play for France in the Euros at the summer, um, getting bullied by Dominic Calvert-Lewin and having probably one of the worst days he's ever had in a Liverpool shirt. I think that just shows how well Dominic Calvert-Lewin actually played last night. And I actually can't speak highly enough of his performance last night because it was that good. But that being said, we did ride our luck a little bit in that second half. Luis Diaz rattling the far post, and seeing that hit the post there, I was very worried. I did have my head in my hands for large parts of that second half. I was incredibly nervous, but that being said, we rode our luck. There was a few chances here and there for Liverpool. Salah blazed one way over the bar, but no, we held firm. In a team where we've prided ourselves so many times this season, being defensively solid, and Sean Dyche teams do like to pride themselves on being defensively solid. We absolutely showed that in that second half. We showed that we can dig deep, go solid, two banks of four, and just really, really grind out the result. And we absolutely did that. And for me, I've probably got, there's probably 11 standout performers that I could talk about in my next segment, and I will get onto that in a minute. But just moving into the latter parts of the second half, as I said, just keeping solid, and we were almost getting a third on the score sheet as well through Dwight McNeil, but for a decent save from Alisson. So that second half for me showed that the players do really want to fight for this. They do really want to get us over the line here and just show that they've got the minerals and the 110% effort to fight for Everton and get us over this line. But moving into those standout performers, I think apart from the whole team, as I said before, I could list off the entire team sheet and say how well they played. But for me, I'll start with Mykolenko in that first half. Defended Salah really well, kept him very quiet. I thought Salah was anonymous last night. He absolutely didn't get a sniff, did he? And that was all credit to Mykolenko because, this isn't the first time that Vitaly Mykolenko's done this. That Mykolenko has kept Salah quiet quite a few times now, and he's kept him to a point where Salah can't really get in the game. I picture the 2-0 defeat at Anfield under Frank Lampard, where we were actually unlucky that day. I thought we played quite well. Mykolenko kept Salah quiet that day. I thought he kept him obviously relatively quiet. Last season in a couple of the games, you pitched the 0-0 at Goodison last season. I thought Mykolenko kept Salah relatively quiet there. But for me, last night was no different to that in that first half. Kept him really quiet. No chance creation really for Salah. He couldn't really get in the game, and that was every credit to Mykolenko for me. But the one standout thing I'll say with Mykolenko, playing on for that extra 10 minutes with that injury, it looked like a really, really nasty injury to his ankle. And obviously, we wish him the speediest of recoveries. We're in a situation now where we're looking a little bit more healthy in terms of the league table. So will we need him as much between now and the end of the season? Obviously, being 8 points clear, I'm not so sure. But speedy recovery. I hope we see him before the end of the season in Everton shirt, because last night showing that he can play on with an injury and really push through to half time and just get there. He was hobbling round. He looked in a really bad way. It looked like a really bad ankle roll. And for me, giving us that 10 minutes whilst he was injured, that just shows the nature of the kid, and it shows how resilient he is. And he had a difficult start to his time at Everton. That has to be said, but he's really, really growing in character now, and he's really, really getting into the role of being an Everton fullback, and he's going from strength to strength. And I do look forward to the next few years of having Vitaly Mykolenko at left back, because last night just showed me that he's willing to fight for every ball, and he's really got that mentality of being an Everton player now. But again, more standout performers. I thought Godfrey did well at right back as well. on the other side. Read the game brilliantly. For me, Ben Godfrey's a player that has, over the years, he showed that he's got the tackling ability, he's got the speed, which, fullbacks stereotypically do have and do need is the pace and the tackling ability, but the defensive awareness on Ben Godfrey's part that wasn't always there. I don't think that Ben Godfrey has had the best of times in terms of defensive awareness. You look at last season and this season as well. Against Manchester United, he always seems to get done in terms of watching the ball fly over his head and having a quick winger going in behind him. But yesterday, that did not happen. I thought he read the game absolutely brilliantly. Um, making a great goal line clearance from, I think it was a Salah chance where it rolled across the box and Ben Godfrey put it wide for a corner. For me, that shows that he's really getting to a point now where he's reading the game a lot better and he's able to make decisions a lot quicker. Before Christmas, for example, in that Burnley game at Turf Moor, he made another challenge pretty identical to the Salah one last night. And for me, that shows that he is honing that defensive awareness and he is getting to a situation where he can play fullback and can play centre half as well. So for me, last night, did very well to come in at right back. Obviously, Ashley Young dropped to the bench and Ben Godfrey did come in. I think that was a tactical change in terms of pace just to try and keep up with Luis Diaz and Mo Salah, if they were switching sides, whatever. But for me, he did so well, Ben Godfrey. I was really happy to see the performance. And again, another performance in midfield. Idrissa Gana Gueye, I cannot speak highly enough of his performance last night. I said in the starting 11 show that I wanted to see him breaking up the play well, getting to a point where he's putting in tackles and he's bringing us forward with the ball. He did all of those so well. And the amount of time he gave us was obviously pleasing because he's not young anymore. We know he's not a player that's going to give us 90 minutes 3 times in a week. And I'd love to see him start again on Saturday and give us as much as he can. But for me, he showed that he is that Rolls Royce of a player. He is that, Gareth Barry type character that we had all those years ago. For me, Idrissa Gana Gueye last night showed why he is still a player at the top of his game and still a player that can play in the Premier League. And I'm sure that there'll probably be conversations in the next couple of weeks between Evertonians about whether he should get a new contract in the summer. I personally would like to see him stay for another year. I think the last 2 games have showed why we do need a player like that in our team. And for me last night, how good he was, I just thought he was superb. And it's just really pleasing to see because he had a difficult time at the beginning of his return under Frank Lampard and just trying to find a little bit of form. I think he did struggle, but for me now, he's showing that he is that Rolls Royce of a player. He's that player that you need in midfield to break up the play and just be progressive. And he definitely did that last night. But for me, the biggest stand-up performer and probably my man of the match is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Last night, that was a proper number 9 performance. I said it talking about the first half and the second half as well. Last night, the way he performed was absolutely unreal. And I said it before, just the kid, he needs some confidence, didn't he? He was probably at rock bottom with not scoring since October before that Newcastle game, before scoring that penalty. And for me, last night he showed that he's a proper number 9. Bullied Virgil van Dijk all afternoon. I think Virgil van Dijk probably went to sleep having nightmares about Dominic Calvert-Lewin last night. He was that good. And for me, I do think now that Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be the preferred striker between now and the end of the season. Should he be fit? Obviously, it came out last night that he was playing with a strapped up knee. It was bleeding all evening, and also he got a stomach bug the day before the game. So it was very touch and go whether he would even start. So he pushed through, gave us 110%, and I think he gave us 96 minutes before Yusuf Jamiti made an appearance late on in added time. So that for me is a proper Everton performance, a proper number 9 performance. And for me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was my man in the match, getting on the score sheet, getting that second goal, and it was absolutely huge for us. But that for me was probably one of the best performances I've seen in an Everton shirt from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, barring obviously the lockdown days under Carlo Ancelotti. That for me last night was unreal from Dominic Calvert-Lewin and fair play to him because I hope now he kicks on and goes from strength to strength off the back of this. But you know, as I said before, I could go through the whole team and say standout performance, but that is all really. That's all of my thoughts from this game. Just a thought on the Liverpool fans. I thought they were silent all evening. Didn't really hear a peep out of them, considering that they're chasing a title and going for what was a quadruple in February. I didn't really hear a peep out of them. I think they were all gone by 80 minutes. So that brings an end to Klopp's tour, Klopp's farewell tour, and the Toffees are staying up for me. So That is all from me. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, and obviously I'll be speaking to you ahead of the Brentford game, no doubt, in the next couple of days. But that's a huge game. But let's just enjoy this Blues. Let's just enjoy this this ending of Klopp's tour and us potentially staying up. But that's all from me. I'll speak to you in a bit.